Abby.
I'm Ben.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome to Cracking the Shell, our podcast about psychological science, where we aim to bring the science of psychology to you in easily digestible nuggets, featuring work taking place right here in the University of Maryland's Department of Psychology.
Our goal is to showcase how our department is contributing to fundamental science and addressing problems that real-world folk face, whether that be substance use, parenting, work, or learning in and out of the classroom.
And if you like what you hear and want to support our activities, you can contribute by donating. Just go to psych.umd.edu. That's psyc.umd.edu. Scroll to the bottom, click Donate to Psychology, and select the fund.
It's that easy?
Yeah, it's that easy, and every dollar donated supports the really excellent work we do here at Maryland and enables us to continue our research, teaching, and outreach missions, including this podcast.
Aren't we forgetting something?
Oh yeah, I guess we should say that the views expressed in the show are those of the hosts and invited guests and are not the official views of the University of Maryland. How's that?
Awesome. Shall we get started?
Let's do it. Welcome to Cracking the Shell. I'm Mike Doherty.
Hi, I'm Ben Jones.
And today we're here with Dr. Dave Yager. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
One of the reasons I wanted to bring you on today was because I'm interested in your expertise on sleep. If someone asked you, what are the sort of 5 or 6 most important lessons you've learned from the science of sleep, what would those things be?
So one of those is that when you're talking about sleep and biological rhythms, you really shouldn't trust your gut. Humans are really bad at assessing exactly when we'll fall asleep or when we have been asleep, how many hours we think we need of sleep. And often students in particular will make the mistake of, should I study or should I sleep? And they really need to choose sleep and not study.
And why is that?
If you're sleep deprived, it affects not only your body, but it affects your cognitive processes. So even if you study while you're sleepy, chances are you're not going to remember what it was that you studied. And because your cognitive processes are deteriorated by the sleep deprivation on the test the next day, you won't perform as well as you could have if you had had a full night's sleep. Because there's things called microsleeps, the chances are you're actually asleep during part of the time that you think you're taking the test.
Oh, that's interesting. So that kind of reminds me of this work on metacognition, how aware people are of their cognitive activities, right? And so it sounds like sleep could be a key element in people's awareness of their thinking ability, their thinking skills, their awareness of what they've learned or what they think they'll be able to retrieve at a later date.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I'm really kind of interested to follow up on this because I'm a big coffee drinker. And I feel like I kind of depend on coffee every morning to get me going. Why not just like stoke myself up on coffee and go after it after that?
Yeah, so that's a really common idea. And it's in some ways a dangerous idea. Coffee in the morning, probably going to be fine. The problem is that coffee stays in your body much longer than you think it does. And so if you're drinking 2 or 3 cups a day, then the amount in your bloodstream gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which makes it harder for you to go to sleep, which means that you're going to end up being sleep deprived the next day. And the other point is that coffee is just a masker. It doesn't change the underlying sleepiness. The underlying sleepiness is going to be there and it's going to come out. Coffee just sort of covers it over for a little while.
Now, one of the things also that we study a lot in psychology are social relationships. How does sleep affect social relationships, or does it in any way?
It does. And a lot of this is pretty recent work, the last 5 or 8 years. Sleep deprivation makes people cranky, and it tends to people tend to emphasize negative things over positive. But even more scary than that is that for a person who is sleep deprived, even for one night, other people looking at that person will judge them to be less attractive than a person who is not sleep deprived. And taking that even further, if a person is sleep deprived mildly for a period of 4 or 5 days, they will start feeling lonely and they'll start distancing themselves from other people completely unconsciously.
I sometimes feel tired. I feel like my schedules differ when I'm working during the week, and then when I get to the weekend, I mean, I don't know if that is anything that's been studied, but I worry sometimes that I'm staying up too late on the weekends.
You mean like kind of like a jet lag?
Yeah,
type of thing? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's called social jet lag.
Oh, it's actually a thing.
Yeah, it's actually a thing. It was first published in 2006, and it's exactly like Ben said. You have a particular schedule during the week, and then you shift to a different schedule on the weekend, which is really tantamount to crossing a couple of time zones. And so you're going to experience something like jet lag, essentially. And then what makes it worse is that you have to shift back 2 time zones on Monday morning.
Yeah.
And this is where the phrase Monday morning blues comes.
So I sometimes take long car trips. I'll drive 17 hours across the country or something like that. And sometimes I'll get down the road and I'll think, okay, where have I been? Right?
Yeah.
I find myself 45 miles down the road, not realizing where I've been. What's that about?
That's about 2 things. One of it is attentional control network in your brain, and that's sort of a normal thing. The other thing is going to be through sleep deprivation and these microsleeps that I mentioned earlier. So you can be driving along the road and thinking that everything's fine, maybe feeling a little sleepy, but being pretty sure that you're not going to fall asleep anytime soon. And yet you go into these micronaps. A 3-second micronap, if you're driving 60 miles an hour, is going to take you more than 100 yards out of control.
Yeah.
And that's not something you really want to do. And coffee doesn't fix it, by the way.
What about my driver alerts that I have on my car that tell me that, the little coffee cup pops up that says...
Sorry. The bottom line that the students get in my class is that friends don't let friends drive sleepy.
All right, so I have one last question. Maybe Ben has some other ones, but what are your thoughts on daylight saving? What does the science say about the changeover of time?
The science is really clear on this. And the spring change, the spring forward, this does have significant effects, especially on people who are owls, who like to go to bed late and get up late. There have been documented increased incidences in heart attacks and traffic accidents and a number of other parameters. Ultimately, however, daylight saving time during the summer is not a big problem for people, whether you're early people or late people. The really bad idea is to make daylight savings time year long. And in the wintertime, that's going to cause real problems for people because you need to have bright light in the morning. This is something that everybody should do for your own health, is just go outside for half an hour in the morning. But daylight savings time in the winter, when the days are short, means you're getting up when it's dark, and you don't have a chance to get out in the sun as much. And so this is going to mean more depression, seasonal affective disorder sorts of things.
It might be the most convincing argument that I've heard. Well, this is really interesting. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hopefully we can have you back on and talk about more of these issues or other issues.
Well, anytime. My pleasure.